Hey guys, we are back for some more toys. None of this stuff though. We've got something a little different today. I've done a few Figuarts lately, but this is a big one. We have got the Figuarts Dragonball Z. This is the Japanese release. I mean, it's the same thing we're getting in the US. I just got them a little early. This is SHENRON. As you can see, he is enormous. This thing is so much bigger than I thought it was going to be, at least in the box. I know he's not absolutely massive out, but the package that I got him in was a little surprising when I actually saw just how big he is. Here's a shot of the back. You can see just the various product shots. Same kind of box we're used to, it's just a lot bigger. I've never gotten a Figuarts that came in this size box, so I am really, really pumped to pull this guy out. So let's take a closer look at him. All right, now just real quick, this is what the inner workings of the box looks like. I figured I'd just show it off just so you can see what all is going into this, I guess, figure. I guess he's really going to be more of a statue by the time it's all said and done, because, I mean, he's really only got a small amount, maybe only one method of being put together. So, you know, we've got the head, we've got all the body segments with the arms and the legs, we've got the tail, we've got the blast effect that has we actually get some Dragon Balls, sort of. I mean, they are the Dragon Balls, but they're not individual balls, I don't think. And then there are various stand pieces that he comes with. So I'm going to pull him out, we'll take a look at all these pieces, I'll put them together, and then we'll resume this review. All right, now here is SHENRON out of the box, and he's all assembled on the stands, on the base with the Dragon Balls and the little blast effect. And I gotta say, despite the relatively high price tag, I am 100% satisfied with this thing. I think he is awesome. He is still bigger than I thought he was. I thought he was a little smaller, which I'm not complaining at all. So we're going to pull him off of this stand and kind of go over just how big he is and what he has to offer and do all that normal stuff here. Okay, so the instructions have you put him together kind of a certain way, and I'm honestly not too sure there are a lot of other configurations people are going to have him in. This is really the kind of pose for SHENRON, blasting up out of the Dragon Balls with his head kind of down, and with the body kind of curved all the way around like a snake, basically. He comes apart, you saw the shot with all the pieces, and he's just kind of segmented, so he can rotate at all of these segments. He does have articulation. I'm not sure if some of it's as necessary as others, but you can pose him in another way if you really, really want to, if you're maybe a little more creative than I am. He does have full articulation at the arms or the legs, however you want to describe it. They are fully articulated. They've got the standard kind of Figuarts articulation, standard joints. They can rotate all around, double jointed elbows, ball jointed wrists, the whole 9 yards really in that regard. So we've got 4 legs, 4 arms that are articulated like that. His head can swivel all the way around. He can go pretty much any direction with it. And then from the head all the way to the first body segment, they are articulated individual pieces. So you can get a little more animated with this particular section. Each kind of segment is articulated, so you can be a little bit more expressive with how you want to position that head. Or the neck, I guess, if you want to describe it like that. And, of course, the jaw is articulated as well, so you can have him with a mouth fully open. So I'm gonna pull him off the stand, and we'll kind of take a look at just how the body works real quick. I haven't really played around with him too much like this, so bear with me. We'll move the stand aside, and here he is in all of his glory, and I'm going to knock him apart. So here's a good point. So the pieces do come apart. Obviously, he just fell apart. That's the first time he's done that, so don't take that to mean like it happens a lot. The pieces just sort of key in, and these joints are keyed, so they only fit in a certain way, so you don't kind of put them in the wrong way. And then I can pop this one back in as well. You obviously know which way they go in, though, because of the coloration on the body. And you can kind of see when he's put together, he kind of sits in a certain way before you start twisting him around. So the way the body's painted, he is basically in that kind of telltale, I just came out of the Dragon Balls type of pose. Now, when he's fully extended, and you can only do so much with him when you want to do it like that, there he is fully extended. This table is a 4-foot long table. You're looking at about half of it. So he is relatively large. There's a lot going on here. So you know, I think we're getting our money's worth for what we're paying. And he just looks so badass. But like I said, each of these sections are articulated at that joint, so you can rotate them around just to accommodate however you're going to pose him, which is very helpful, especially when you're putting him on this stand for the first time. Maybe I'm just, you know, not paying enough attention, but I had a bit of difficulty. I ended up assembling him on the stand, which helped me out personally quite a bit. But you can see there is a lot of dragon here. There is a lot of plastic here. And there's a decent amount of paint on top of all of this sculpt work. I mean, it's a dragon. He is sculpted out really, really nicely. Every bit of the top portion is obviously his scales, and he's got those spines that run the length of the body down. The arms have scales all over them. We've got his kind of mustache that comes out. And they're actually two separate pieces. They peg in, they actually key in a specific way. So one fits on one side, one fits on the other in those nostrils. Well, they're not really nostrils, but you get the point. The teeth are sculpted really well. He looks very menacing when he's got his mouth open. I like the kind of the tree branch style antlers that he has coming out. And then he's got his like kind of frills on the back. The underbelly that all the way down has little kind of pock marks all over it. And it's, you know, kind of got the underbelly scales. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it. The ridges that run along the body. The hands are sculpted really well. He's got those four fingers or three fingers and a thumb, however you want to describe it. And they are sculpted with scales all over the back with the nails painted black. And then there is a lot of paint on this guy too. So it's just mostly because of the fact we have different colors of skin tones. So we've got the red piping that runs all the way down. We've got the yellow underbelly. I'm pretty sure he is molded in the scaly green color, and then everything else is painted on. And then we've got the darker green for the spines. We've got the browns on the horns, antlers, and then that face has the yellow paint. The red eyes are incredibly striking. I'm very, very pleased with how those turned out. He just looks very much like the dragon that I know from the show, and I really couldn't be much happier, despite the fact that at the end of the day, I'm going to have him in one pose forever, and I'm probably never going to touch him. He does, obviously, you've seen it, he does come with an accessory, and he comes with a humongous stand. So I'm going to move Shenron aside for a second, and then we'll talk about the stand and the accessory as well. So let's just set him aside. So the main accessory is the blast effect from when he comes out of the ground from the Dragon Balls. So we've got this to represent the balls. It's just kind of a bronze gold color ring of 7 orbs. So they don't have the dragon stars on them. They're not on there or anything. And then they just fit into the effect itself. And it's got some orange shading around the balls, so you know it looks like he's coming out of the Dragon Balls. It's kind of it's not a really hard plastic. It's kind of soft almost. Not that even remotely matters, but it's kind of odd. You can kind of bend the spines on them a little bit, and it's really just meant to you know, kind of sit at the bottom of the stand there. And the stand itself is a whole thing. Obviously, you can see there's 3 parts to it. So you know, I said he's not 100% set in stone with the position that I've got him in and the one that they kind of show you to do. So if you're, you know, again, a little more creative than me, maybe you can get him into something a little cooler for your tastes. But the neck sits on the top part, and then parts of the body will sit on these. And these actually slide up and down, and they kind of weigh themselves into place. So once you put the weight of Shenron on top of these, they kind of lock down, and they don't move. I haven't any issue so far with these sliding. And the stand itself is really sturdy. So we obviously needed it. There's no way you could even begin to position this guy without a stand. And you know, the only negative side to this is that it's big, and it is going to kind of mess up your sight lines when you've got him on your shelf. But so far, from a personal standpoint, I really don't care. He wraps around it so well that it ultimately doesn't bother me. One quick thing to throw in here, just because I've got him handy. Here is Shenron. You know, he's posed, he's back on the stand. Here he is next to a figure. So this is the recently released and recently reviewed Vegeta from Bandai. And you can see that even in the quote-unquote standard pose, I guess is what I'm calling it for Shenron here, he is still twice as tall as kind of your average Figuarts. I know most are taller than Vegeta, obviously, so Nappa would be about up here. But this is going to be a pretty damn fine centerpiece in a collection. Characters are going to be able to be around him, and you're going to have a nice looking setup overall. So I think at the end of the day, despite the slightly high price tag, and I'm not sure it's unwarranted in any means, it's just, you know, it's more. It's kind of hard to pose from time to time. It takes a little getting used to with these stand pieces, but I think he is an awesome Figuarts. I'm really, really glad I ordered him. Glad I ordered him from Japan so I could get him a little bit early. He is going to make, as I've said before, a great centerpiece for your Figuarts collection, and I really don't know what more they could do to make this thing better, except maybe give us a full set of actual Dragon Balls to go with him, but I'm not going to nitpick about that. I like what we got. Hell, I'd be happy if they gave us a Porunga at some time, but that would be even bigger and probably $200. So I am going to stick with Shenron for now, and I am just ecstatic about him. So snatch him up if you haven't already pre-ordered him, and if you have, you are going to be very happy. I guarantee it. So that's going to do it for this look at the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Shenron from Bandai Tamashii Nations. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time, guys.